This video will show you how to turn your own drawing into a glowing drawing using Photoshop. First thing you need to do is create a drawing on paper, and I want you to think about where you want your glow effect to be in your drawing as you are creating your drawing. So make your drawing specifically for this project. You can use graphite or charcoal, but we're going to be keeping our drawings black and white. I recommend using white paper, but you can also use gray paper if you need to. And once you have your drawing complete, you're going to take a picture with your phone and then upload that to Google Classroom or Google Drive. Try to take a high quality photo and eliminate any background area. So notice how I don't have like the desk in the background or anything. It's just my drawing. If you need to, you can use the crop tool in Photoshop to crop your image as needed. The next thing we need to do is drop down the contrast of the image. So I'm going to go to Image Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Levels. And right down here where it says Output Levels, I'm going to drop this down. Now, I don't want to go all the way down, otherwise I lose my image. But I want it to be in the gray area, so where it's very, very gray. It's a lot less contrast now. Now, I can also tweak these, but I'm not going to manipulate them too much because I want to still keep it fairly low contrast. I still like that I can still see shadows and details and everything, but we're going to keep it low contrast. This is key to using the glow effect. You need to make sure you're using a low contrast image. You can also go to Image Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast, and adjust the brightness here if you need to, just a little more, tweak it a little bit. You can drop the contrast a little bit if you need to, or all the way. Okay? All right, so my background image is ready to go. Now I need to use my Quick Selection tool, which is right over here in the Tools panel. You might need to right-click on Object Selection in order to find the Quick Selection tool. The Quick Selection's here. I'm just going to make sure my regular Quick Selection's on. I'm okay with this size. And I'm actually going to cheat a little bit and click on this button right here that says Select Subject. And this is actually going to sense, using the program Sense, what my subject matter is. Now you can tell there's some areas where I maybe missed a little bit of the hair, so I will need to go in and kind of add a little bit of that, but it went ahead and selected my whole subject matter, which is really handy, especially when you have just a blank background to work with. So now I'm going to go in and kind of refine this. I'm going to use the little plus sign here because I need to add a little bit of her hair back in. Now you can zoom in here if you need to. Feel free to zoom in so you can see the hair. And if you select too much, like here I selected a little bit of the background, I'm going to go in with my minus button and see if I can get rid of some of that background. Now you might have to also resize your brush a little bit as well. Oops, back in with this one. Now it's not going to be totally perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect for something like this because you're not going to notice as much anyways if something's off. Hide that. Oops. Back over here. This side actually looks really good. I'm not too worried about that side. It's definitely more this side where it's just a little off. We can resize this, just make it a little smaller. I'm also going to drop the hardness down on this. This will help make it look a little softer. Whoops. That happens. Just take it piece by piece. I'm just clicking and dragging with my mouse here. Actually, I'm going to go back because I lost my selection there. There we go. I want to keep that selection there. Now there's a little bit of a space in here too, and I'm going to see if I can get rid of that. Yep, looks good. It's pretty close. Let's see if I can just get this one little, no, it's not going to let me do it. That's all right though. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out here. Now you can technically, in your Quick Selection tool, when you have this one selected, you can go in here in this place called Select and Mask. And I like to put it on black. It's just like a temporary background so you can kind of see what it looks like what he has selected. Now there's a few areas where I'm kind of not super happy with the selection. So I might go in and refine the edges here. So this is the Refine Edge button. And I could just kind of go through here. I'm going to go back there. Let's see if I can make that a little better. Again, it might not be perfect. That's okay, it's a drawing. Kind of see what I'm working with there. If you click, if you go down here, you just say Output to Selections, click OK. Then that kind of selected a little bit more of her hair there. Okay. Now I'm going to do Control C to copy or edit copy, and Control V to paste. So now she's on her own layer. That's one I've cut out. I can tell where I cut a little bit, the selection, it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. We'll see what happens here. And now you can either draw directly on this layer or just create a new layer underneath that one and just keep this as kind of a backup layer if you need to. We'll just call this my painting layer. And I get to choose my glow color. Now, whenever we're working with glow colors, we want to use really bright saturated colors. We're not going to use like a dark blue or, a gray or anything like that. We want to use a bright color. So if you go, to this blue, you're using the bright blue. If you're going to the red, you're using the bright red. And when I think of Marilyn Monroe, for some reason, I think of like bright magenta pink. So I'm going to do this like magenta pink. I'm going to grab my brush. I'm going to make sure it's a decent size. This is pretty good. And then I want to make sure that the brush hardness is set to 0%. So you don't want it super big, but big enough that it's going to add a really cool glow. All right, now I'm going to start by just kind of tracing around her body. Now I'm not going all the way over to the side. I'm just going to go around her hair here. This looks pretty cool. Now looking at that, I need to tweak it a little bit just because I feel like it's a little, like I need to just, I don't know, it needs to be a little bit more softer on the edge. So that means I'm going to bring this size up here. I really want her to glow. And I'm just going to like tap with my, that's way too big. Let's just see what happens here. We do like that. Tap with it a little bit. You can also, if you want, like I could go into a lighter pink here. It's still high saturation. And maybe do like a lighter pink next to that pink. Let's make that a little smaller. You see, this kind of really makes it pop. It's almost like a gradient then behind her. So she's glowing with the light pink and the dark pink. Something like that. Now again, the hair might be a little off, so I might go back in this layer and I might even just use my eraser tool to just kind of touch that up. Now you get to decide where the glow is going to be. Let's bring that hardness down. So you can decide if it's going to be like the whole outline of your image or if it's just going to be one part. In this case, I'm just doing like her head and her shoulders. Touch this up a little bit. Now to me, this glow is maybe a little much, so I'm going to basically erase some of this because I think I got too much. I got a little too big. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Go back in and kind of touch that up. I can even redo it if I want to. I think I might just a little bit. I'm going to go back in with that pink. It helps too if you follow along the contours of like the hair and stuff. So I'm going to go back in with that bright pink. Bigger brush. On the painting layer. So really following like the contours of her hair. So this comes out like that. And that comes out like that. The top, it just kind of goes off. This comes out like that. That comes out really far. There we go. I like that. And then I'll go back in maybe with that lighter pink. And just add that little bit of a lighter pink glow. Just a little bit. We get that little hint. I like this better. So feel free to adjust as needed. You don't want it to fill up like your whole background. You just want like a really soft glow. The other thing too is if it seems like it's still not quite dark enough, you can always play around with that levels too. Darken it even more if you need to. Just don't darken it so much that you lose your image. So I'd say this is decent. It's glowing. And I can go to File, Export, and then I'm just going to quick export this as a PNG. You can do PNG or JPG. And there is our beautiful glowing drawing.